Welcome into the New Orleans Saints podcast, presented by SeatGeek. You'll hear from players, coaches, broadcasters, and writers that cover the NFL on a daily basis. The New Orleans Saints podcast starts right now. Here's your host, Erin Summers.
We do have a lot of guys from this city and this state in this locker room. And that could be something that makes us different, right? That could be something that makes us special. I think everyone in this league right now during this time, during OTAs, I think they're trying to find what makes them special. And whether that's a placebo or isn't, I don't think it really matters, right? Because at the end of the day, if you believe in something and you give it everything you got, like, you should have a chance, right? You should have a chance.
Tight end Foster Moreau unable to participate in OTAs fully as he's coming back from a knee injury, but has been on hand every day during practices.
Foster's one of the all-time best. I have loved every interaction with Foster since I got here. He is everything we want in our program, and so I think he's a great example. He can't do much of anything from a physical standpoint. He's out there every day. He's in every meeting. He's leading the group. He's got a voice, and you hear it in 7-on-7 periods, and he's chewing and yelling at people left and right, and so it's special. I think he's everything we want.
Thursday wrapped the 9th optional practice for the Saints before they head into mandatory minicamp next week. Not spotted at the open portion of today's practice was tight end Taysom Hill, wide receiver Brandon Cooks, safety Tyrann Mathieu, defensive ends Chris Rumpf, Chase Young, Cameron Jordan, defensive tackle Nathan Shepard, safety JT Gray, running back Alvin Kamara, offensive lineman Cesar Ruiz, and cornerback Dallas Beenum. Beenum and Nick Saldiveri were both added as injuries, but nothing serious. Head coach Kellen Moore said that they'll be fine. They were just not practicing today. With Ruiz absent, it was Dylan Radins and Will Clapp who worked in on the offensive line. Moore does seem locked in on his OL as Kelvin Banks has been at left tackle, Trevor Penning left guard, Eric McCoy center, usually Cesar Ruiz at right guard, and Taliese Fuaga at right tackle. Trevor Penning said he is really excited about the move to guard.
Kellen and Nuge, they brought me up, and I kind of had an idea. I'm like, they're probably going to move me, which, I was excited for. Brought me in. They're like, hey, we're going to try to guard. We're thinking it's the best for you. And I'm like, I couldn't agree more, and I'm really excited for it. And I think for me, the things that I do well, I think fit better at guard. Not to say don't think I can't play tackle, but in the run game, especially at guard, I think the things I do well, really I can shine at guard.
Looking at the quarterback battle, Spencer Rattler, strong performance again today. Finished 6 for 8 overall. He did have 3 touchdowns during the 7-on-7s during red zone work. He went 3 of 4 during that time. The touchdowns were to Juwan Johnson, Chris Olave, and Kevin Austin Jr. Johnson's was probably about 20 yards. Austin Jr. back of the end zone. Really good catch by him, and Chris Olave caught one in the end zone. Tyler Shuck finished 7 of 8 with a touchdown. Hunter Deckers, for the first time that we've seen all OTAs, actually worked in on 7-on-7s, got a couple reps at the end. Usually your 1 and 2 QBs get 4 reps, and then the third gets 2. So Deckers only ended up with 4 total reps. He was 2 of 4 with a touchdown to Michael Jacobson, the tight end.
We definitely have a competition on our hands. I think our guys have looked really good, top to bottom. I know Hayner's not able to get out there right now, but I think Jake's looked great. I think he's looked polished. The polish is certainly something I've noticed from year 1 to year 2. Shuck is as advertised. I think he makes great decisions. Can spin the ball really well and throws a really tight, neat spiral. Even Decker looks great out there. The lefty. I don't know. I haven't played with a left-handed quarterback in a long time. But we have a full-blown competition on our hands, and I'm excited to see what happens when bullets fly, when people are rushing the passer, just to see who steps up and what happens. It's been a cool experience, though, right? Because those guys are constantly trying to better themselves, which is an awesome thing.
Defensively, while you could hear Demario Davis getting everybody organized, first time we've seen him at OTAs, it is hard not to notice Alontae Taylor. Every practice he is out there making plays, supporting his teammates, literally running across the field, up and down, screaming, full of energy.
Yeah, I love watching Alontae. He's everything you want. He competes every day. He's got juice. He's got energy. He's out there flying around. He can play a number of positions. Just feel like he's going to become a really prominent leader for our team.
Taylor will be a fun one to watch next week when the fans are out here for minicamp, and we're looking forward to having them here as well. Things are definitely starting to get set up here at the practice facility. The tents are going up. It's going to be a lot of fun. For today's podcast, I sat down with new linebacker coach Peter Sirmon. Sirmon comes from Cal, where he was the defensive coordinator and inside linebackers coach for the past 5 years. This is actually his first stint as a NFL coach. Coach, thanks for joining me on the New Orleans Saints podcast. We're just trying to get to know some of the new coaches around here. So how has it been for you so far, getting used to New Orleans and getting used to the Saints?
It's been a great transition. I would have to say that living in New Orleans was not on our bingo card. That was something that is a great opportunity. The people have been great. The culture has been amazing. The Saints have been particularly very, very accommodating with the transition. So everything's good. I think it's probably harder on the families. All my kids are out of the house, but my wife's getting the house settled, and for the coaches, it's easy to get into a flow once you get on the practice field.
You coming from college, you were there for 17 years coaching. Was going into the pros, being a professional coach on the bingo card?
Yeah, it was. It was the right opportunity, the right situation. I really enjoyed working for Justin Wilcox at Cal. I really enjoyed the academic side of being at Cal. Really enjoyed the recruiting profile of the guys that were there. But after some time, I'm looking to continue to grow, and I think you grow by being around people. You grow by being in new situations, and go from a player to a coach in the NFL. The dynamics are completely different.
Coming from being the DC for 5 years there, now just really focusing in on the linebacker group again, being able to dive into a position group. Do you like that? You kind of hone in on one area?
Absolutely. That's where I play. That's where I cut my teeth. And even as a coordinator, I was still coaching the inside linebacker. So this has been something that's been really an everyday opportunity for me in terms of coaching that position group. But now, you pour even more focus into it when you're not having to kind of manage coaches and the defensive side of the ball as much. So it's been great to really dive back into it. Brandon's been awesome to work with, so I'm learning a lot.
How has the position changed since you played?
The position has changed in terms of, I don't think the NFL carries as many linebackers as they did in the early 2000s. There's more pass rushers. There's more defensive backs. I still think there's, you're still looking for the same characteristics. But I think the amount of snaps that the linebackers get to play now are a little bit diminished because you're getting replaced by pass rushers and more kind of those, not this is hybrid safety, but guys that have greater coverability. The premier guys at linebacker still have height, weight, speed, but I think you see a little bit of a trend, towards guys that are more proficient in space and less thumpers in the box.
How big of an anomaly is Demario Davis?
Boy, probably an extreme anomaly. Just watching him out here and being around him, the behavior, the mental side, you can see why he's been such a high performer for so long. But getting to understand his physical characteristics, he's still got extreme movement skills. He's extremely strong at the point of attack. Just the epitome of a pro. And he's been great and is great in the room as a leader, as a culture builder. So it's been great to be around him, and he's been everything that he was advertised to be.
I was talking to Coach Venables from Oklahoma about Danny Stutzman, and he said that Danny's going to come in here and challenge Demario in a respectful way, but he is going to bring a different perspective to the room, and he wants to elevate everybody around him. He's obviously going to listen and learn and do what he needs to do as a rookie, but how have you seen his personality kind of fit in so far?
All these guys, in the transition, we don't want them to take a back seat to anybody. The mentality and their behavior is part of what made them good, and it's part of why, ultimately they were selected. So I think it's an opportunity for these young guys to show humility, but we're not asking them to take a back seat, and we want to get the best product on the field as we can. Danny's done a great job. He was really well trained at OU. He comes in. What I thought you were going to go with is talking about challenging. It was, challenging the coaches and, hey, what about this and what about this? So, I thought he has a high aptitude to learn, and he's got good physical tools. He runs really well. So, we're really excited about his addition. I'm really excited about what he's displayed to me. Just his work ethic, the way he views the game, which ultimately goes back to the way he was trained at school. So, we're very optimistic that he's going to be a big contributor for us.
How familiar are you or were you with Brandon Staley's defense before coming in here?
Brandon and I, we had not even a crossover, but I was leaving the University of Tennessee, and Brandon was just coming into the University of Tennessee. So we had met several times kind of during that transition, and then we had kind of kept up in the meantime. But all the guys, I'm pretty familiar with kind of all the defensive trees and the guys, the way they play football. You're always kind of following people or following schemes that give you some maybe some flexibility or some adaptability what you do with your own scheme. So I've watched a bunch of what Brandon's done and kind of his path.
What can we expect from the linebackers in his scheme?
Yeah, really the scheme of it, we're going to ask those linebackers to do a lot. You're going to see them up near the line of scrimmage. You're going to see them in space. You're going to see them trying to puncture things through, rushing the passer. We're going to see some man. The versatility of packages and the versatility of what we're going to ask them to do. You're going to see a lot of different groupings on the field. You're going to see a lot of different alignments from the linebackers, the safeties, even the D-line. So there's going to be a big menu for Brandon to choose from. And for those guys to be, and for our team and our defense to be as good as possible, there has to be a really, really strong mental side of these guys to be able to carry it, capture it, and then execute it.
What made you want to be a coach?
I didn't want to be a coach when I was a player.
You just wanted to play forever.
Not even that, not really. So I finished my second contract in Tennessee. I think might have been maybe just after 29 or 30. And I had a couple injuries like my 6th, 7th year, and I didn't look the same, so I ended up retiring after those 7 years. And then I stuck around in Nashville. And that year out, I kind of identified, this football thing's pretty good. This football thing's pretty good. It only happened after I removed myself from football, but there was never, there was never, I can say 100% unequivocally, there was never a time while I was playing in college or in the NFL I thought, this is what I want to do. It was only the removal of it kind of got me back into it.
So how have you grown as a coach through your different stops? You've been to a bunch of different places at the collegiate level, and then you said you're still trying to challenge yourself, want to grow. You're still in it 18 years later. Yeah,
I think the thing that I like to do is, have an open mind to where you're going and where you've been. Some people refer to it as a growth mindset. I think it's a fancy way of saying, you know what, I don't have all the answers, and I know I don't have all the answers. And I think part of growing as a coach is knowing what you don't know. I'm not especially dogmatic about what I believe defensively. I think there's characteristics of effort, tackling, takeaways. I think those are all very, very durable. But 4 down, 3 down, bear, I think there's a lot of quality defensive approaches to do it. I think it's about how you get your guys to do it as important or even more important than what you're doing. So I think growing through different conferences, different job responsibilities, different skill levels, different head coaches. I think you're really just trying to find, that development of what do I believe in, what can I fix, and what are my strengths as a coach as you build a defense.
What would you say your biggest strength as a coach is?
I would like to think that I can make complicated things easy. Use less words, not more words, and to be able to adapt to the way that your players need you to. And I say it often, and this comes from a reference to a player I coached, Shaq Thompson. His mother would tell him, a closed mouth don't get fed. So I need those guys to ask me questions. I don't know what you don't know. So what I constantly ask them, if I'm not saying it correctly, challenge me to say it another way. Is it an example? Is it a video example? Do I need to rethink about how I'm instructing it? But I think that's what good coaches do, is they can sift through 1,000 coaching points, and a player can grab on to 5 or 6 that are crucial. I think people that talk, they're just grabbing at, eventually maybe one of the things I say you'll listen to.
Right, will land.
Yeah, but it's, again, fancy words, an economy of words. Be mindful of the words that you use, mean what you say and say what you mean, so it's not just chitter chatter and there's too much information and what you're trying to convey gets lost.
So when I have a question, can I come knock on your door?
Yes, and I'll probably give you. I'll give you one sentence, and if you want more, then you got to open your mouth and ask more questions. But I'll try to be concise with the initial answer.
Okay, I love that. Thank you.
Yes.
How good is it that we're not playing the Jets this year?
Well,
his son Jackson plays for the Jets.
Yeah, so my son Jackson is on year 2 in the Jets organization. I never liked playing my son, and we did it several times when he was at the University of Washington, and we were playing him in the old Pac-12.
Right.
But I never enjoyed it. I never enjoyed talking about it. I never enjoyed any of it. So I don't like competing against him.
Did you coach him up? Do you talk to him? I mean, you guys are both linebackers.
Yeah. Well, he played for me for 2 years at Cal. So it was a lot better
and then
once he joined the squad. Yep. So he played his 4 years at Washington, had a COVID year, graduated, and then came post-grad and played 2 years for us at Cal.
So it worked out
that's
well.
the way I liked it.
Yeah.
That's the way I liked it.
When he's on your side.
Yes.
Off the field, what do you like to do?
Boy, couple passions I have. I've sold it since, but my wife and I like RVing.
Okay.
I love snowboarding.
Not going to have that here.
I know, but we can make it happen. I love hiking, camping, backpacking. So really enjoy the kind of the outdoor activities. And I think probably getting a little bit of golf now with the 4 kids out of the house. So we got 2 of the girls living in Dallas. Jackson is up in Jersey, and then our youngest is a sophomore at Alabama. So we're empty nested. So we got to start finding some activities that we can do on a weekend. So probably picking up a little more golf.
Yeah, we have ties to SEC country then with Alabama.
Yes.
So.
Yep. So she's a sideline cheerleader there. So my wife will be up there as much as possible, and then now she'll be able to drive instead of having to fly from California.
Well, we got mini camp next week, and then you'll have a couple weeks. Maybe you can knock out some of those activities, get a couple rounds of golf in before the season gets going.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
All right. Thank you so much for talking to me and letting us know a little bit more about you.
Thanks for having me.
That does it for OTAs. Tuesday through Thursday next week will be that vet mini camp. It's mandatory, so we're hoping to see everybody here. Coach Moore said that's the expectation for him as well. The team is looking forward to having the fans out at practice, so tune in again next week if you're not able to make it here for all of the coverage that you need.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Minicamp open to the public, and so that'll be a fun part of this. And certainly, when we come back in July and training camps here for, the front end of it, I think it'll be an awesome opportunity for us just to connect with our community, get as many people here as they can, and have a lot of fun doing that.
Thanks for listening to the New Orleans Saints podcast, presented by SeatGeek. Join us 3 times per week on NewOrleansSaints.com, the Saints mobile app, or you can download the podcast on iTunes. We'll see you next time, right here on the New Orleans Saints podcast, presented by SeatGeek.